My nephew is graduating from West Point today.
Oh, that's wonderful. And how are they doing that?
On
It's
YouTube.
outdoors?
Yes, it'll be outdoors, and I think they are only allowed parents.
Okay.
The family members are going to watch them on YouTube today.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, we're excited.
Oh, well, congratulations to him. See, I think the second half of 2020, we're just going to fill it with lots of good things and keep learning. That's my intention.
That's good. My son is sitting on the couch next to me, so.
Oh, good. Well, he needs to do yin with us then.
You hear that? That's from Lisa Madden. She's the one who you took the course from.
Oh, yeah.
With Akash.
Get your yoga mat out. Good morning, Stephanie. Oh, good. Well, hopefully you all have a blanket and maybe a pillow for this morning. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to mute you guys. And then, of course, at the end of class, if you'd like, you may unmute unless you end up going back to bed. Good morning and welcome to Inner Calm Yin at the Into Yoga Virtual Studio. Happy Saturday morning. My name is Lisa Madden, and I would like to encourage you to enjoy this calming practice along with the challenges, but to also listen to your body and its inner wisdom. So if anything feels uncomfortable to the point of pain or tingling or numbness, anything that's not appropriate, please be sure to back off. And we will get going. So to begin, what I'd like to invite you to do is to come into a wide knee child's pose. So you'll just bring your knees out to the corners of your mat. Maybe you put a blanket underneath your knees. Big toes come together. And then just start to reach the fingers forward. Let your hips draw back towards the heels. And maybe your forehead comes to your mat or to a block or a book. If you'd like to make it a little more restorative, put your pillow right under your torso and use that to rest upon. You can use your hands for a little pillow. And if it's okay for your breath and for your spine, let your forehead rest so that your spine is in a neutral position. And maybe you gently reach the fingers out forward, just very delicately, noticing the touch of your mat beneath your fingers. And we'll start by just breathing into the back body. So let your breath rise up. So it's coming from the base of your spine, and imagine it unfurling and opening through your lower back, up through the mid back, the shoulders, the neck, and through the crown of the head. Maybe even gently reaching through the fingertips. As you exhale, imagine the breath just releasing into the earth. So if we had little arrows on the inhale, the breath would rise up across our backs, up through the crown of the head, The exhale, the arrows point down, releasing into the earth. Notice how this observation of direction moves the breath through your body. Just allow your body to receive the inhalation, just very slowly, gently. But completely. And let the exhalation also be complete. Bringing an awareness to the softening, releasing. And perhaps our mantra this morning is, my love grows stronger with every breath. My love grows stronger with every breath. My love grows stronger with every breath. And if that speaks to you, maybe you use that mantra to, at any point during your day or during this practice. And what this reminds us of is that the power of forgiveness and the power of love to move us forward. And regardless of maybe past mistakes that we've made or that others have made, or experiences that we perceive as negative, that we can take in love to move forward. And as we exhale, we can experience the lovely release of forgiveness and shedding from maybe those things that might have defined us or stuck with us. My love grows stronger with every breath. And so as we begin to move and continue into our practice, I'll invite you to come on up to your hands and knees, just gently lifting up. Bring your hands under the shoulders and knees under your hips. And let your tailbone reach out behind you, and the crown of the head extends. Your gaze is down at your mat so that you're a strong table. And feel the strength of your core. Let your breath flow through. And we'll begin our practice with threading the needle. So take your right fingers and on an inhale, reach them up towards the sky. There's a little rotation at the top of your chest and the upper back. And as you exhale, thread your fingers on your right arm between the left arm and the left leg. Come down onto your right shoulder and then extend, perhaps extending your left fingers out in front of you. The hips stay up. And you might pause here and just allow your spine, the vertebrae, to experience this pose. Your right palm is facing up. If you need just a little more spice, you can wrap your left arm behind the back And gently draw your left shoulder back so that there's just a little more rotation in the upper part of your back. And getting into the thoracic spine. You can also make a little kickstand with your left leg, extending it out to the side, and then this allows you to open up even a little more. But that's your choice. So we start by getting into the shoulders and the upper spine, softening the breath again, and just pausing this first moment or so to redirect and to allow the body to melt into this pose. Notice that there's a lot of pressure on your neck. You might just need to take your nose a little more neutral. So you feel like you're rotating in your cervical spine too much, just back off a little. Let your jaw soften. And take 5 more full breaths. I'll count them for you, so no worries. And after your next exhalation, please bring your left hand back just in front of your face. Press it into the earth. And on an inhale, begin to unwind, drawing your right fingertips back up towards the sky. Take your time here. You might circle the wrist a couple of times up in the air and then take it in the opposite direction. And then on your exhale, bring your right hand back under the shoulder. Pause here, take 3 cat and cow breaths just to neutralize your spine and to feel the flow of your breath through the vertebrae. As you flex and extend. Nice. And then come back to your neutral table. And we'll thread the needle on the opposite side. So left fingertips reach up towards the sky on your inhale. Gaze might follow. And as you exhale, thread through gently. Take your time getting here. It's completely fine. Left fingertips reach towards, away from you. Palm is up. And again, make any adjustments you'd like. Maybe you keep your right hand close to the face momentarily, or you extend it out overhead to create more stretch in the right shoulder. Or you can tuck the hand behind the back. And again, there's always that option of the kickstand of the right foot extending out to the side. And then, as suggested before, take a moment to notice your neck and how you are positioning your head so that you're not compressing the cervical spine. It might feel a little noisy at first as your body starts to grow into this pose or ease into it. And we learn to bring our awareness back to the inhalation, extending the exhalation about the same amount of time, particularly if our mind starts attaching to ideas or lists or things past or future. Just bring your awareness to the present by noticing the sensations of your next breath. My love grows stronger with each breath. Take one more full breath. And then gently begin to unravel. Right hand comes to the mat in front of the face. If you have the kickstand out, bring it back in, and on an inhale, start to take the left fingertips back up towards the sky. Circle your wrist one way and then the other, and then come back to your table. And pause here just to allow that resetting of the vertebrae. Maybe you once again take a couple of cats and cows, tucking in on the exhale, inhaling strong, a little back bend here. And then please come back to neutral. We'll make our way to sleeping swan. So if, for those of you that may not be appropriate to take the knee forward, I'm going to have you go into a reclined pigeon. Otherwise, start to bring your right knee up to the right wrist. Bring your left knee off your mat and then extend your left foot out behind you. So it's a little lift and then extend, a lift and then extend. And your sole of your foot can be close to the groin here, or you can start to bring the foot a little more parallel to the front of the mat. It's your choice. It's also nice to maybe tuck a little pillow or blanket under the right hip. And before you melt into the sleeping part of Sleeping Swan, just pause at the top here for a proud swan. We'll take a few breaths here, starting to square the hips, gently lifting the heart. Maybe the chin, maybe you take the gaze up slightly, lifting the chin, but as always, we do what's right for our necks. If you choose to take a reclined pigeon, you will be on your back and bring your right ankle to the top of the left thigh. So you're getting the same stretch into the hip flexors here, but you're not putting so much pressure on your knee. Okay. All right, so proud swans. Let's take an inhale, lift the heart up, little mini back bend. Then as you exhale, begin to just gently walk the fingers forward. Take your time melting in to Sleeping Swan. So you might just come down to the forearms and pause. Usually spend some time in this pose. You can also put a pillow in between your chest and your leg. Some of you might be ready to extend the arms out and melt the forehead down towards your mat. I'll give you one more possible addition would be to play with either going straight forward with the fingers, or you can take more of a twist, maybe to the right. See how that feels. See what feels good for your body this morning. And then once you're there, simply follow your flow of breath. And I'm going to be quiet for a few moments so that you can breathe and be. If you get a little chattery between the ears, perhaps come back to the mantra. Take a full breath, please. Maybe you sigh it out. And slowly bring your hands back under the shoulders so that you can lift the torso up. And you might feel stuck for a moment. So just curl the left toes under so that you can lift up. And then some of you might just reach up into a three-legged dog or come to a table again and extend your right foot out behind you so that the right leg is long. Maybe just a little gentle pulse of the heel behind you just to release the hip. And breathing into that space where maybe you feel a little tightness as you bring the leg and the hip flexor back to a little neutral space. And then before we go to the other side, we're going to come down onto our bellies. So if you have your blanket, you might just bring it up so that you can bring your forearms to the top of your blanket, maybe the chest here, and we'll pause in Sphinx. So your feet might come out just a little more than hip distance apart, just a little less pressure on the lower spine. And then use the forearms to gently lift the heart up. You might somewhat press your toes into the earth and try and release your sit bones or your glutes here. Try and soften your booty. And where we want to feel this pose in particular is in the lower lumbar, the vertebrae, the connective tissues and muscles that support the spine here. So you might keep the chin up or you might gently lower in, and then this is providing even a little more traction. As always, we listen within. You might notice a gentle release into the shoulders. Some people enjoy bringing their feet up and then lifting up. That's up to you. I prefer to keep my feet down. The teeth part slightly, the jaw is soft. Take one more breath. As you exhale, melt your chest down towards your mat. Turn onto your left cheek and draw your right knee up so it's in line with the right hip for half frog. You get a 90-degree angle of your right leg and where the knee bends. Extend your right knee out just a little more. And we're in half frog. This is external rotation of the hip. We've just had an internal rotation. We're going opposite. If you'd like, you can make this more of, if you enjoy the shoulder stretch that we did earlier with the thread, the needle, you can even continue by bringing the left arm underneath the right and maybe coming onto your left cheek still. you would like a little more shoulder stretch. Otherwise, just using your hands as a pillow, turning onto the left cheek. As you breathe here, start to notice the breath going into the sides of your ribs as well. You can feel it inflate into the belly and then rising up into the lower ribs, the side ribs. And empty it completely. Slowly exhalation down. We've got one little tricky transition here so that we get an opposite stretch in the shoulders. Take your left arm out into a T, palm down to your left. Bring your right hand in front of your face and then start to rotate so that you're on the left side of your body. And we're just going to bring the right foot in front of the left leg. So it's kind of a figure four. So yeah, you can see me here. So the right hand comes close to the body so that we can press ourselves onto our left side. And you're going to notice significant stretch into the left shoulder blade here. And of course, just use your right hand as some leverage for that stretch, but just go to the place where you're feeling it, of course, because this can be quite, significant. But just pause where you're feeling it, because we'll spend a few breaths here. Adjust your neck and head so that, again, there's not any unnecessary pressure. And then use these first few breaths to get through maybe that place where it feels just a little bitter. We find the sweet spot. The palm of your left hand is facing down this time. Some people like to take the right arm behind and maybe reach back. I prefer to leave my hand just in front of my chest and just use it to gently press back a little onto the left side of my body. So your right hand and your right foot just serve as those leverage points to just get a little more stretch in the shoulder blade. Observe where the breath goes here. And we'll take 2 more breaths. After your second exhalation, begin to roll back onto your belly. So you'll just release the legs, take your time, lean back, forward, bring your hands under your shoulders, and then gently lift up to table. You might notice some sensations. Just notice them. Of course, always moving with the utmost compassion and love for yourself. Take a few breaths. Again, it's a nice place to take that extension and flexion of the cat and cow movement. And as we come back to a neutral table, we're going to move to the left side. So sleeping swan on the left. Your left knee comes up to the left wrist. And extend the right leg out behind you. Of course, we take this first moment or so to just get ourselves settled in. Deciding how parallel we want the shin to the front of the mat. We want to keep the hips squared here though. So sometimes it's helpful to get a blanket or even a book and tuck it under the left hip. And for those of you who like, take the reclined pigeon so that you don't have the stress on the knee. We'll pause here in proud swan for those of you who are in swan. And so rather than jamming into the lower back here, let your heart lift up so that you feel that mini back bend. You can breathe into your heart space here. You might notice we're working all sides of the heart this morning, including the back side. Breathing in. My love grows stronger with every breath. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, you can start to walk the fingers forward again. Some of you might choose to just pause at the forearms. This is usually where I spend a few breaths myself. Maybe you start to make your way down to a pillow or to your chest. And allow yourself this time to melt into sleeping swan. So making any adjustments you'd like for the first moment. You enjoy the twist, do that. Add the threading of the needle, that feels good. If not, just go straight. And I will be silent for a few moments so you can enjoy this pose and enjoy your breath. Begin to draw the hands underneath the shoulders. And press into the earth to lift your heart up. Curl your toes under. And then maybe coming to three-legged dog or a table. Take your time. Extending the leg out behind you. Some people just enjoy a few breaths of stillness, maybe in table or child. It's your choice. So when we move those really thick connective tissues and stay in a pose like that for a while, that's where we feel that little kind of a just a stuckness for a second. And it's actually a good thing. It means that we've done something. So we've created a shift. We'll meet back in a table. And then we're just going to start to extend the arms forward once again and come back to our Sphinx for a few breaths. Now you might choose to stay in, take the same pose you did before in Sphinx, or if you would like a little more of a back bend, you bring your hands out wide and straight and then lift up to seal. So again, the toes are on the earth, maybe pressing in, and we're softening the glutes and the butt cheeks here. And if that's too much, you can always walk the hands a little more forward or just simply come to the forearms. What we're doing here is creating some core strength. And there's also that we are slightly compressing the lower vertebrae, which that amount of stress without pain is beneficial for the health of our spines. The way Bernie Clark describes it is just like the those shoes that the little kids wear, where when they take a step, there's that little spark of light. So is our tissues that when we put a little compression, we're actually creating some energy. And that energy stimulates the growth of the bone cells. So we are creating more density in our bones as opposed to the opposite, getting osteoporosis. So this is good for the strength of your bones, your vertebrae. Let's take one more breath. And exhale, melt down. Your time going lower, lower, lower. And then come to your right cheek this time. And your left knee will draw up in line with the left hip. We come into our half frog again. On the right cheek, and you can always, if you really liked that shoulder stretch, you can thread your needle here. Or simply rest on your right cheek. Start to soften the glutes again. And this allows us to neutralize the vertebrae from the back bend while also getting that external rotation in the hip flexor. Check the texture of your breath. Check into the fullness. And now bring your right arm out to that T, reaching behind you, finger reaching out, palm is down. Bring your left hand by your face so you can start to rotate onto the right side of your body. Maybe your right leg stays straight, and then the left foot comes close to the right thigh just to create that little leverage point so that you feel the stretch in the shoulder. And adjust your head again, just being gentle with your neck. And just go to that place where you feel the little bit of challenge in the scapula, in the shoulder blade, but of course not to a point of pain. And then reconnect with your breath once you're there. You might notice a difference from one side to the next. Take 2 more breaths. And on your second exhale, begin to roll back onto your belly. Take your time moving here. And bring your hands underneath the shoulders. Once again, curl your toes under and then reach back into a child's pose. Either wide knees or knees together, more traditional pose. Maybe your forehead rests on the earth again. It feels good to extend your fingertips out in front of you this time. And really fan the fingers open and just press into the earth. Take a breath in. As you exhale, melt into your child's pose. Let the hips rest. Three more breaths in child. And then begin to walk your hands back towards your knees so that you can bring the torso up and then just shift over to one hip or the other and bring your legs out in front of you. We'll have one more pose before Shavasana, just a gentle forward fold. So taking a long-legged butterfly, bring the soles of your feet together away from the groin. So you can see there's this nice diamond here. And then let your spine grow long for a moment. So the heart, rather than being slouched in, lift the heart up, feel the crown of the head extending up. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, begin to fold forward. So extending the crown of the head towards your feet. And once you've found that just right extension, now you can start rounding in. You can always bring your blanket into your lap. There's some extra support. You can put a book or a block under your forehead. And then just let the chin start to tuck in towards the chest. Let the back round. And if it's possible, start to let the shoulders really soften here. The arms don't need to hold you up. And then we come back to a full breath. But from all the shoulder work we've done this morning, notice how the exhale allows you to expand and create some spaciousness into the shoulder blades now, the back side of your heart space. My love grows stronger with every breath. Take 3 more breaths. Begin to gently unwind using your hands to walk yourself back. Oh, maybe bring your hands behind your sit bones and lean back. Bring your soles of your feet on the earth and gently windshield wiper your knees. Just puff the chest up a little bit for that little counter stretch from the forward fold. And now I'll invite you to start to find your way to Shavasana. So maybe you come onto your back, pillow underneath the knees if you'd like, wrap up in a blanket, and perhaps get a little support underneath your head and your neck. Just finding that just right space. Let your body align on your mat. Feel your spine from the tailbone up through the crown of the head. And allow yourself to be present. There's no need to think about the breath, to think about anything. Just rest and soften into the stillness of your body and your mind. In closing, today I'd like to read you a quote from Jenny Lee, who wrote the book Breathing Love. And she says, we can absolutely change at any moment by choosing love. We are stronger than any difficulty because we are love incarnate. We can train our minds to focus on soul qualities of harmony, generosity, and integrity, rather than indulging resentment, rage, or ill will. Then the infinite power within us will spring forth and banish any thoughts of pain or victimization. And let your breath flow through you. See the infinite love around you with each breath. And breathe in compassion for those who may feel a lack of love awareness. Open your heart. Release expectations and judgments. Bless yourself with peace and harmony. Begin to gently move your fingers and toes. Maybe making some larger movements. Perhaps a full body stretch. And we will be in a seated position at the front of the mat. And if you'd like, bring your hands to heart center or leave them in your lap. Close with a breath together. Generous inhalation and sigh it out. Thank you, ladies, for joining me this morning. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Happy Saturday. Light in me humbly bows to the light in each of you. Namaste. Hi, Jackie. Oh, Jackie's connecting to her audio. Yay.
Thank you.
Hello. You're welcome. Thanks for joining today. If you're staying for Slow Flow, we're here. Good to
Well,
see
not
everyone.
today.
Thank you.
Hi, Jackie, though.
Hello. Hi. This is my
See you next
first time.
time.
Okay. Bye, Mariana.
Bye.
Hi. Good to see you, Jane.
That felt wonderful, Lisa. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Really felt good.
Those shoulder things are tricky sometimes. To see you. Any other sign-ups? Jackie,
So
were you
Yin
on-
sounds like it was great.
Oh, it felt really good.
Good.
Let's see. Oh, you got a couple more that signed up this morning. So I'm going to add Michaela and Carmen.
Carmen's coming in.
Yeah.
So Lisa, when do we open the studio back up?
I think I am aiming for not this week, but the following.
Okay.
And we can talk too about schedules and, you know, because I'm thinking like a gradual opening.
For sure.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your schedule going to be like?
I'm not really sure just yet. Like, I'm back at Whitey's and it's been really, really slow. Really, really, really slow.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll probably be working less hours there than I normally would because we just don't need as many bartenders
Right.
right now.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, if like you need help like getting the studio ready and stuff, I have Wednesdays and Thursdays off. Like
Ooh,
clockwork.
okay. Awesome.
So, yeah.
I'm thinking then possibly, let's see. What we're going to do to start is to take everything out of the studio and put it in the space next door, just like as a holding space, and then do like a power clean and then decide what's going back in.
It's a great idea.
That might be a good Wednesday
Yeah.
kind of activity. So maybe I'll schedule that, and then if you're able to,
Cool.
that would be lovely.
Yeah, definitely. And then I'll just take a little break and teach Vin Blend at 4:30.
Cool. Oh, Brent's joining us too.
Brent is?
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, I just saw him the other day. We went jet skiing.
Ah, oh, fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Sweet. Mickey. Hey, Kathy.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm here.